Welcome again to the Career Coaching Experience. I want to welcome again my continuing guest, Daniella Rinaldo. And just briefly to recap what we've done the past few weeks for those viewers and listeners that are just joining us, is we've decided to take an entrepreneurial track. Daniella has a great idea called Peace Out, and she had an initial conversation with investor and businessman, entrepreneur Craig Picken. I thought that went very well. So our next step is going to be, doing a pitch to a technology investor. And that was originally scheduled for today, but I understand we have a new issue that has boiled to the surface that I'm sure our listeners and viewers are going to find very interesting. And that is the question of, how do you handle a boss? How do you handle a performance annual review? How do you get a raise? Because we have to keep in mind that Daniella has a day job, okay? So she has to maintain her status with her current employer. So I think we're going to work through that issue today. I think it's going to be of interest to a lot of people because it's the end of the year now. People are going to be doing performance reviews and getting raises. So I'm going to open it up to you, Daniella, now. Maybe you could brief everyone on what's happened in the last week here.
Yeah, so I was so excited today to speak more about Peace Out and speak to the Technology Connect. But then reality hit, and I know that I contacted you saying, okay, you know what, I'm really struggling here. It's not that things are not going well at work, they are, but I'm not getting the support that I need from the upper management team. And so one of my biggest conflicts and challenges has, one, getting a raise, getting a promised bonus that was promised last December, and to approach even just a regular conversation with my team, it's very, very rare that I get a response. So they choose what they'd like to respond to and what they just don't want to respond to. And so it leaves me in a gap because I don't know how to proceed. So when I think about even asking for a bonus or a raise, I don't even think I'll get a response. So that's where I am. And I don't know how to get a response at this point.
I got it. So why do you think you're not getting a response? Is it they're just too busy? Are they in crisis mode? Do they not like you? Is there functional problems? Is there a process problem? I mean, I'm interested to find out, first of all, before we dive into this, why are they not responding, do you think?
It has nothing to do against me. It's to everyone that's ever been in contact with them, even our vendors, and I'm the middle person. And so if I'm the middle person and I'm helping the employee, if I have to get authorization from upper management, and that is what I communicate with my team. Now, when I don't get a response, I think it's really just the way it functions. And I think that this has been something that was ongoing prior to my arrival. And I think I've been doing a pretty good job because I've been running the facilities without any support. So I'm happy about that. But I think that it's come to a point where I've hit a plateau because there's nothing more that I can do without any further communication. And a raise, a bonus, it's well-deserved, and I have the proof for it.
Right. So it sounds like there's a trade-off between the value of being able to work independently and make your own decisions and have a lot of leeway without the micromanagement versus having some response or some communications with upper management. There's always a balance. So if I understand you correctly, the issue now is that you perhaps have too much responsibility without the authority. And without the remuneration. Is that what you're trying to say here?
Yes, exactly. And it's like, okay, Daniela, you are running the show. You have complete go, right? But when it comes to finalizing or closing the deal, I need to authorize completely. So it's like, I'm 99% there, and then it's gone. I mean, I can't do anything else. And so, yeah, that's the issue. I have authority, but then it's like, do I really have authority? Because I need an approval on every single aspect of what I do, in a sense.
Got it. So you can
So it's like,
operate independently, but in terms of corporately making the necessary decisions, they've got your hands tied, it sounds like, right?
yes, and if I
Why
don't get,
is that though?
unfortunately, and this is not me, and if anyone is hearing, I would never speak bad. That's not my intention, because, you know, in every job, you have your perks
Of
and then
course,
things that
there are
you
no
do.
perfect employees.
Right, exactly. But I think that this has been an ongoing thing, and I think that I did start to work really well with upper management, but unfortunately, my team even tells me, they're like, this has been ongoing since you've been here. I mean, they just don't care. And when I hear that, it's like, how could you not care? Especially in a healthcare facility, these people are working so hard. They're not just a number. They're a human being. They're an employee. They come in when coverage is needed. They work overtime. During COVID, they were working from like 7 in the morning to like midnight. I mean, so it's very hard. There just is a very big disconnect.
Yeah. So does this firm operate with a purpose? Do they have a mission statement? Can you tell me in a few sentences, like what the mission of your business is? What's their purpose?
Well, our mission really, well, I'll tell you a little bit. So there's a whole bunch of urgent cares, right? But basically, the one thing that's really great about our urgent care is that we really keep retention. So rather it just being more of like an emergency where people are in and out and you may see one person and then you may never see them again. Here, it's like our staff and our employees, they're so loving, they're so giving. They give you the time that a patient would love to have. And because we emphasize on that so well, we have people coming in all the time. They'd rather drive 20 minutes to come see us than go to the urgent care down the street from them. And so our mission is to, I don't know. It's so difficult to say what our mission is, because I
Right.
know what it is on the healthcare side of things, but corporate wise, there's such a disconnect that I can't ask for a pandemic to hit. So we have 200 patients a day instead of now the norm of maybe 50 or 70. And then sometimes maybe, you know, people are lucky one day, they're not that sick. And so we only have like 45 patients come in.
Yeah.
But then it's the pressure of, well, why can't you get more patients through the door?
Yeah. So I guess my point, Danielle, is that it's been proven in study after study after study, and in my, interactions with my clients, the most important thing for an employee is to know what the purpose is of the organization they work for and to believe in that purpose. So the purpose has to come from top down. Your CEOs, I mean, have they ever, is there any consistent communications about here's what our purpose is in life to operate? Yeah, you
What
see,
the
that's a
purpose-
big pro. Yeah.
Because the purpose is that number.
Make money, right? I got you.
That's it.
Right. So how important is it for you to work in an organization that has a true purpose?
It's huge. It's a really, really big thing. And I think that is why I reached my plateau, because I created the mission statement. I basically turned the company upside down, created systems and procedures, protocols. I mean, the doctors are like, wow, I mean, this office has never,
Yeah.
it hasn't been running like this since you came. So it's a great accomplishment on my end. But then it's like what you said, it works from
Top down.
top down. And when I'm in the middle, how much can I
Yeah.
do?
So it sounds like having a purpose, like many other people, is very important to you.
Yes.
So if you could find another organization, maybe it's another urgent care, but maybe it's in the home health industry, because that seems like a good fit for you based upon all the diagnostic profiling that we did in episodes 2 and 3. And, if there was an organization that you could make the same amount of money doing the same duties and responsibilities, but an organization that had a true purpose, a true calling, something that you could really buy into, would that be enough of a difference for you to at least consider that opportunity?
I would consider the opportunity. I mean, same position, same everything.
I mean, if everything else was equal, except this organization had people at the very top who communicated and who consistently communicated a purpose. Here's why we're doing this.
Oh,
And you could buy into that. Would that make a difference?
that makes a big time difference.
Yeah,
It's a
because
domino
there are
effect.
companies out there like that,
There really, really are. And so the one thing that I've really been trying to do is build culture within the company, but you can't. And culture is a huge,
Right.
huge thing.
So let me ask you this then. So sitting where you are now in your company, I feel your pain. It must be difficult, working as hard as you do and as smartly as you do for people at the top who, for whatever reason, and we're not assessing blame here, but for whatever reason, be it they're in crisis mode, they're working on something else, they're distracted, whatever the case is. I feel the disconnect. So do you think that it's worth salvaging? In other words, do you like your job enough doing what you're doing, working with your staff? I know you manage a lot of people, you're in a leadership position, which must be very satisfying, but do you think it's worth trying to rectify? Do you think this situation is salvageable at this point? Is it fixable?
No.
You don't think so? Okay, because I guess what I'm getting at is, if you thought that there was a glimmer of hope, because the grass is always greener on the other side, if you felt like there's a glimmer of hope, I just want you to consider if we develop some tactics here, if we develop some strategies for you to re-engage or engage with your leadership, to people at the top, do you think that would be worth trying to fix this situation? Because I can give you some ways that you could possibly do this, in terms of asking for another review, asking for a raise, there's all sorts of things that we can do, but I don't want to waste your time if you think it's too late,
No, I'm willing to try. I love my position. I love the team that I've created. And if I am able to work my way into even communicating with upper management and really just saying, listen, this is my last shot of proving to you everything I've done, and look, and it's not even to throw it in their faces because they know, but I just want to feel valued. I want to feel, I don't need a pat on the back, but I need, what? Let me at least give you two minutes of the day to say, I received your email. This is definitely up for discussion. Let's meet on this given day.
Yeah, because so you want to be valued, and you want, and so you want to be valued, you want to work for a company with purpose. The compensation and the positions, all that stuff will take care of itself. So I think that if you want to move forward, if you want me to help you come up with some, tactics and strategies, I can definitely do that. But I'm thinking, it sounds like, and I want you to answer this, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like the first step would be to have a conversation with the upper management. Is that right?
Yes.
Right. So is there a specific individual that you would have to talk with, or is it a group of people? Is it the CEO, the COO, CFO?
The two owners.
So that you would have to speak with the two owners. Are they local?
No, not really. I mean, one of them is, the other one, I have no idea.
Right. So one of them could one make the decision?
By them, yeah.
by themselves, or would you, or is this like a tag team where it's like Pete and repeat, like they can't do anything without bouncing off each other?
They have to bounce off one another, but you know what? At the end of the day, there's one that's calmer and there's one that's like goes crazy. And so they both balance one another in that way because there's one that calms them down. But to make the executive decision, to be honest with you, I have no idea if they can even finalize the decisions.
Well, they must make decisions on some things, so.
Yeah, they do. But then who might be more on top that I don't know about? I don't know that.
Well, that's true. So you don't really know who pulls the levers in the organization. So for argument's sake, without launching a global investigation of who these guys are,
I know.
that's a different conversation for a different time. But assuming that we're talking about these two individuals
They
at the
both
top of
make
the
the
organization. Okay, so let's talk about that. So when is the last time you had a performance review?
Never.
You've never. Do you have an employment contract?
Yes, that I created myself.
So you created, does the contract say anything about annual or a performance review?
Yeah.
And when is that supposed to be?
It's an annual review, once a year.
Once a
And-
year when though? Is it once a year in January or June or?
Usually like when you first started, that's when your annual review will.
I got you. And when did you
Yeah.
start?
I started February.
February. Okay. So this is perfect. All right. So everything we're talking about, never happens at the snap of a finger. You have to lay the groundwork. Okay. So to lay the groundwork, it has to be the right time and place. Like you can't just email somebody and ask for a raise or call them on the phone. I mean, you can, but your chances are very slim. So the most important event, the next sequence of events has to be a meeting with the decision maker in the form of a performance review. It's logical, right? That it'd be hard for him to say, you're not getting a performance review. So a lot of this is going to be a series of fishing expeditions where you're going to test their resolve, you're going to test their flexibility, and you're going to test whether or not they're bought into you as a person. Because I know you don't want to hear this, but it may be that they're like, this lady's not doing a good job, or she's got the wrong personality. You never know, because people see you differently than you see yourself in the mirror.
Right.
Okay? So we have to get to what the issue is. Like, why are these problems surfacing? So how we'll do this is during a performance review. So how difficult would it be for you to send them a carefully crafted email, follow up with a phone call, just asking for what's rightfully yours per the contract? I'd like to set a date for my next annual performance review. How difficult would that be for you to do that?
Oh, extremely not difficult for me to do. I would definitely need some guidance because you always need guidance and someone to read what you're writing and
Sure.
But it's not difficult writing it. It's difficult getting a response because
Right. So we'll work on that. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a difficult one. So
because
in
imagine
the past,
go ahead.
yeah, in the past, how do they, what do you have to do? What have you done in the past to get them to respond? What have you done in the past to get their attention?
Oh,
Is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? Is it like, do you have to use a threat? Do you have to use leverage? Do you have to be nice to them? I mean, what sort of behaviors do you have to use to get a reaction or, a response from them?
Like basically it doesn't really it good or bad, it just doesn't, it's very difficult, very, very difficult.
Do they seem to be simply detached?
You don't know what's going on there.
All right, so what we have to do is are a couple of things.
It's very
Oh.
challenging.
Let me throw a proposal out for you. I'm just thinking out loud now, okay? So what if, and this is up to you because it's your career, okay? So what if we put together some tactics for you to get the meeting, okay? To get the performance annual review meeting. So we have them in the room, one or two of them in the room. And then what if we structured that performance review so that it was essentially, here's what I've done over the past year. Here's how much money I've saved you. Qualitatively, here's the changes in process. Whatever you've done over the past year, you make a list of these. And then you go in and simply ask for a sizable raise and maybe even a promotion. So if we did that, you would probably get, if we do it properly, we can structure it so that you'll get a yes or a no, not a maybe. And if they give you a verbal yes, we'll get that in writing, okay? And if they don't, if they either say no or they don't put the yes in writing, then you have to be prepared to take additional action, which would be, let's put together a resume, let's start doing some interviews, informational interviews, and then you continue with your day job. You're not going to tell them that, but we'll get you on an interview path so that you can see what other opportunities are out there.
Yeah.
And then maybe one of those opportunities will be such that you'll have at least something to compare with, because you don't want to just leave a job. You don't want to get emotional and say, F you, I'm
Right.
done, and walk out. You have to be very professional about this and go about it in a very methodical way. And it may turn out for your employers to be a win for them, because it may be that you continue down this alternative path and you may decide, you know, what I have is pretty damn good compared to what else is out there in terms of duties and compensation, location, whatever it is, the people you work with. And then you may decide, well, if I could settle for a few changes, like a more consistent communication process, a
Yeah.
more, a better position, a little bit of a raise. Maybe we work a bonus structure into this. Hey, if I do A, B, C, and D, I'd like to be considered for a performance-based bonus, so that everyone knows without sending emails throughout the next 12 months. It's all written down. So if I do A, B, C, and D, I'm going to get this, this, and this, and they know that you have goals, and maybe they'll pay more attention, because there's always enough blame to go around. I mean, you could have probably done a better job up front, maybe in, specifically identifying, here's things I'm going to do this year, and if I do it, I'd like to get a bonus. In a lot of cases, employers will say, hey, great. Hey, if you can do A, B, and C, and D, absolutely, I'll pay you a bonus. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you could expand our business or open up a new location or something. So before we do this, I just want to make sure that you're fully bought into this. We'll take ownership and we'll be accountable. If we go down this path of, aggressively, assertively getting you a performance review, and then aggressively and assertively getting a yes, no, and then aggressively and assertively taking an alternative path. How does that sound to you?
I love that. And I think that it's the best option and the only option, really.
Yeah.
Because I care and I'm a good worker. And this is not just for me to say, oh, everyone will say that in an interview, especially. But, I drive 4 hours to get to the office and back. I mean, if
Wow.
that's not a commitment, I don't know what is. Who
Mhm.
wants, for that, I go to Pennsylvania to visit my family.
I agree 100%. Based upon everything I've heard, it seems like you're getting the short end of the stick. I'll be very
And
honest with you. It
and
just
it's
seems like
embarrassing.
it's embarrassing. It's degrading. It's even humiliating when you have to explain this to loved ones and friends, and you're looking in the mirror thinking, what the hell am I thinking about driving 2 hours to and from work every day, 4 hours total? So, I'm not going to make any conclusions. I'm not your advisor. I'm not your consultant. I'm a coach. Okay. So coaching is all about taking you down that road of self-discovery. You get to the self-realization, and then you come up with your own decision. That's what's different about coaching versus advising. But I will tell you that based upon everything I've heard, it seems like you're getting used. And but let's find out. Let's find out 100%, because when you take this new path, I want you to be 100% bought in. The only way we can do that is if we go down this path and get the performance review, get the yes, no on a raise, get the yes, no on a promotion, get the yes, no on establishing a consistent form of communications, top down. We work through all that. And then after that, if it's either a no or it's a verbal yes without anything in written form, we go down the alternative path. And I will work with you and we'll figure out how to get the annual reviews. So are we good to go on that?
I'm excited.
Okay.
Let's add this to the journey.
Good. So anything else that you have a question about? Any other change in tactics or a different way you want to approach this?
So the first thing that I would have to do, and I know that we spoke, is really, do you really suggest sending an email before? Because I never get responded to via email. Everything is via WhatsApp.
That's a very good point. So it's a this is a challenge, this, establishing consistent communication, or at least an initial communication flow with you and your boss. As crazy as this sounds, I think you're right. You have to do it in a multifaceted approach, because it sounds like one or both of these guys is remote. Who knows even what country they're in. So what I would do is I would first send an email. Okay. And we'll work on that. Okay.
Yeah.
Send a carefully, very succinct email. And then you follow that up with a WhatsApp. Okay. And then if you don't get anything on WhatsApp, it's a phone call. And then we work it again, email, WhatsApp, phone call. Eventually, he's going to answer you. Okay. Because you're running his business, he's got to answer you.
Because they're going to need something.
They're going to need something. Okay. So, I think we're good to go there. So just to kind of give you a glimpse of what a successful performance review looks like, because I want you to start thinking about this, since this is what we're going to be doing. Okay. So you've got to find out probably 5 or 6 things. You got to find out, like, what is the path of advancement? You have to find out from these people, like, how do I advance in a company? You tell me. Okay. The other thing is, what can you do to positively impact the company? All right. You got to find out, like, what do I have to do to perform above and beyond the call of duty? Like, one of the questions I always have someone ask, and I would have you ask this question during your annual, during this next review. Hey guys, what's the one thing that I can do in this organization to make you look really, really good and to make a positive impact on your organization? Just tell me, what is the one thing I can do? Okay. So once they tell you that one thing, whether it's opening a new office or hiring more people, whatever it is, once they give you that one thing, that's when you tie that to a performance-based incentive. That's when you say, okay, it sounds really difficult, really challenging, but you know what? If I could pull that off, if I can do that, how much would that be worth to you in terms of some sort of a performance-based bonus? Because it's got to be a win-win.
Right.
And they'll probably, 99% of the people that I coach that ask that one question end up getting a bonus. So that one question could be worth $5, $10, $15, $20,000 to you. The other thing you want to ask them is, how can I improve? Show some humility. Being humble is a very attractive trait, and they would appreciate that. And just ask them, how can I improve my performance over the next year? What can I do better? Just tell me, guys. You want me to work harder? You want me to work faster? You want me to work more in the office? You want me to expand your business more? You want me to focus more on process? You want me to focus more on management, focus more on leadership, focus more on expanding EBITDA, profitability, and focus more on, whatever it is, but ask them, like, how can I improve both personally and professionally? How can I be more effective?
Right.
So just ask those 5 questions in your performance review, and you're going to get a lot of information. Okay. And then, you want to tie that one thing to a bonus, an incentive. And then one of the final things that you're going to ask in the performance annual review is, so what do you think? Have I done a good job this year?
Right.
And then you get into that conversation, and then you transition into like phase 2 of the review meeting. By the way, I've actually made a list of the things that I've done over the last 12 months. Here's the top 5 things. I got a list of 18 things that we can discuss, but I want to go over the top 3 or the top 5, and you just go over those. And hopefully over the past year, you've been tracking your progress, tracking your wins. You should always track all your big wins. Everybody listening and watching this, when you do something in your company, write it down on a piece of paper, put it in a jar, or put it in your top desk drawer, because when you have your performance review annually, you want to go back and review each of those 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things in your review, because then it puts these in their minds and they're thinking, wow, this person really added significant value, both qualitatively and quantitatively. Because here's the honest truth. Here's the ugly truth about performance reviews. This happens with everybody. Most hiring authorities go into a performance review with little or no preparation. So they look at your name on a calendar and say, oh, Daniella, oh, I got the performance review at 1:30. They're going to go to HR, grab your file. And they're opening up your file for the first time in like 12 months. And there's probably nothing in there, and they're at a loss. They're not going to give you a raise. It's up to you to review your notes and remind them over the past 12 months, hey, here's what I've done. I've done X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the things you've done. So you have to kind of educate them. You should never assume anything in a performance review. And at the very end, you want to get a yes or a no. You want to get them to say either no, you haven't done a good job, or yes, you have. Right. And the way you get to a yes is you seek clarification. If you don't get the yes, then you say, well, I thought that was a major accomplishment. Why wouldn't that be a major accomplishment? I thought I was doing what you wanted me to do. You want to get the yes. Once you get them to say yes, 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 then your final question is, how much is that worth to you? And if they say nothing, well, I guess it's time to look for another job, because they've essentially fired you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or you're just working for what? You're
working for nothing. So that's the whole key for a performance review. You don't want to leave there unless you get a yes or a no. And you want to, if it's a yes, you want to get quantitatively. How much is that worth? Don't you think something like that is worth 15 to 20%? Don't you think if I could do that one thing, it's it's an annual performance bonus.
Right.
And then once you get the yes verbally, the final phase is you get it in writing. You send them a follow-up email. Okay, based on the performance annual review, we agreed on the following, 12.5% raise. I've got these new metrics. I've got these new benchmarks. We're going to do all that. I don't want to lay a lot of this stuff on you now, but does all this make sense to you?
Yeah, I was just going to say, but it all makes sense because yeah.
So you want to go down this path then, right?
I do. Yeah. And it's been a little stressful.
Yeah. So, it doesn't have to be stressful. I know it is because it's human nature, but this could also be a huge win-win. It could also be a huge win for your hiring authority and your organization. I'm not saying that you have to leave your organization. I'm saying, let's play this out, because I think as talented as you are, I think that they may not even realize what they have in you. So what you're going to do is you're going to open their eyes up. And I think you'd be surprised at what could happen. You may get a big raise and you may get expanded responsibilities because they've been dormant, that they've been asleep. And it could be that they're involved in another venture. It could be that they've got personal problems. It could be that they have a family issue. It could be all sorts of things. So we never want to assume that they're just asleep at the wheel and they don't like me. Yeah, that's a false assumption. let's find out for sure, okay? 100%. We'll
Absolutely.
get to the yes, no, all right?
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
So what we'll do, I'm gonna give you some homework, okay?
Okay, let's go. I'm ready.
All right, so homework. I want you to figure out the file. I really want you to think about this, and I want you to put this in writing, okay? Doesn't have to be very long, but maybe a page, okay? What is the path for advancement in your company?
Okay.
These are questions that I want you to start asking yourself, because you may know a lot of the answer, you may know nothing, but this is the initial preparation for your performance review, okay?
And sorry, go ahead.
What specifically can I do to impact the company? Okay. What areas did I perform above and beyond the call of duty? Okay.
Okay.
Another question that you should ask yourself, how can I improve? Because I want to see what they say compared to what you think. And start thinking about what are the goals and objectives
Yeah.
that you could possibly set, that you see out there as like, boy, this would be a great goal and objective for the company to achieve. So I want you to start thinking about what are some potential goals that you could set for yourself, and maybe even recommend for them to use as benchmarks so that you can get a bonus. So start thinking about goals and objectives for the company that you
Right.
could directly impact for 2023. Okay. So, and there's a lot of other tactics that we can do, but I want you to think of those things, and then what we'll do is we'll go over them in the next episode,
Okay.
and then we'll just take it step by step, because I want to get your thoughts on this, because that's going to direct our strategy and tactics. Insofar as the entrepreneurial track that we were on up until this week, peace out, I still think it's very viable.
I
But
know,
I'm
I always
thinking,
think about it.
no, but I'm thinking, let's get your day job straight. This is how you put food on the table, and this is how you maintain your standard of living in your lifestyle. So let's focus on the immediate target and downrange, as we say in the military, which is going to be getting things sorted out with your existing physician. Once we get this, clarified, the yes, the no, are you going to stay with the company, or are you not going to stay with the company? Then we could switch back to the entrepreneurial pursuit. But I'm thinking, and I'll ask you, would you rather get your day job back on track before refocusing on the entrepreneurial project?
Yeah, no, I think that it's a big stress right now. And I think in order to move forward, I actually started thinking about them, like, am I a true entrepreneur if I need to have everything perfectly set in order to move forward? And that was something I wanted to ask you, because it, like what you said, a true entrepreneur is willing to risk it all and just go with it, no matter what the risk is. And me right now, and like what you said, I need this financially. I need to have something
Which is
going
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very important.
Yeah, so to answer your question, then, absolutely. In order for you to perform well doing your pitches and really thinking clearly on your entrepreneurial product piece out,
Yeah.
you've got to have a certain amount of stability in your life. You have to be in the right frame of mind, because otherwise you're going to be too stressed, and you're not going to be able to effectively pitch your product. So I'm with you. I agree that let's get your day job back on track, have the performance annual review. I think good things are going to come of that, and then we'll switch back. Okay.
Yeah, I love that. That sounds like a
All right.
solid plan. Thank
Great.
you.
Well, I will see you next week. Peace
Okay.
out.
Peace out. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Yes, me too.
I'll see you next week. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
Perfect. Bye.
Thanks.